More coronavirus hypocrisy. Biden wants to investigate the Wuhan Lab. And a bill seeks to ban Big Tech deplatforming politicians. That and more on this week's headlines. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. A state governor was caught violating their own COVID-19 rules this week. Oh wait, is this a rerun? Oh no, it just keeps happening. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer gathered with roughly a dozen other people in a bar in Lansing, even though her administration had set a rule limiting parties to 6 people. She apologized, then to show how serious she was about upholding the integrity of her own mandate, 2 days later, Whitmer got rid of the rule that she broke. Shortly after, the Michigan House voted to block most fines against businesses accused of breaking COVID-19 emergency rules. Wait, politicians can just change the laws after breaking them? Upon hearing this news, former Representative Anthony Carlos Danger Wiener said, "Now you tell me." In other COVID news, Moderna announced that in clinical trials, its COVID-19 vaccine was shown to be 100% effective in children between the ages of 12 and 17. The trial was called Teen Cove. Teen Cove also happened to be the name of a popular 90s drama on the WB, as well as a room in Anthony Weiner's house. This news is very uplifting. Is what I'd be saying if 12 to 17-year-olds weren't one of the least at-risk demographics for COVID. Saying the Moderna vaccine will be 100% effective at keeping adolescents from getting COVID is like saying Axe body spray will be 100% effective at getting Brad Pitt dates. Are you sure it's the deodorant doing that? Last week we discussed how Ohio started a lottery to encourage residents to get vaccinated. This week, Las Vegas decided to incentivize its citizens to get vaccinated in the most Vegas way possible, by holding a pop-up vaccine clinic at a strip club. This gives guys no excuse to not get vaccinated, while also giving them an excellent excuse for getting home at 3 a.m. covered in glitter. Even though you receive the shot in a private room, you're not allowed to touch the person performing it, unless you work out some kind of arrangement for later. Or so I hear. After receiving the shot, patients will need to be monitored for 15 minutes or 3 playthroughs of Def Leppard's Pour Some Sugar on Me. This is a first, since things that pop up at strip clubs tend to give you diseases, not prevent them. More after the break. Welcome back. On Tuesday, Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra told the World Health Organization that it must launch a more transparent investigation into the origins of COVID-19. It comes amid renewed attention to evidence the virus may have escaped from the Wuhan Institute of Virology lab in China. Here's what he said.
Phase 2 of the COVID origin study must be launched with terms of reference that are transparent, science-based, and give international experts the independence to fully assess the source of the virus and the early days of the outbreak.
And President Biden asked U.S. intel officials to investigate the origin of COVID-19, including any possibility it may have come from the Wuhan lab. This request comes after months of Biden and mainstream media dismissing the lab leak possibility as a fringe theory. But as the theory looks more and more credible, people are backpedaling faster than Lance Armstrong avoiding a drug test. For example, Facebook is no longer banning posts that suggest COVID-19 was man-made. If it turns out the coronavirus pandemic originated in a Chinese lab, it will create a whole new pandemic of "I told you so's" originating from everyone who called this over a year ago, including that handsome scoundrel from China Uncensored who was talking about this early last year. I don't want to admit he was right. He already seems so smug. I wouldn't hold my breath on the WHO being transparent, though, given their ties to China. To get some real answers, you'd need an off-the-books detective. like Batman. But I wouldn't even trust his findings on the origin of COVID, given his ties to bats. China has consistently denied claims the virus originated in the Wuhan lab. But if third grade taught me anything, it's that he who denied it supplied it. China saying there's no way the virus originated from the Wuhan lab is like saying there's no way the Incredible Hulk originated from the Gamma lab that was smashed to pieces. What? Sometimes labs get smashed for natural reasons. Speaking of the coronavirus, a group of House Republicans condemned Marjorie Taylor Greene for comments she made on Twitter. Congresswoman Greene said vaccine passports and mask mandates create discrimination against unvaccinated people. And she linked that to the gold stars Jewish people were forced to wear by the Nazis. Democrats were obviously outraged by this, because comparing everything they don't like to Nazis is their thing. Republicans were criticized for taking 5 days to respond to Greene's comments. But to be fair, try and find one specific instance on Twitter of someone calling someone they don't like a Nazi is like trying to find a needle in a hey, cool it with a Nazi comparison stack. Given this and their apparent civil war, which Paul Ryan has now entered, the Republican Party seems to be on fire right now. Some blame the fire on Trump, while others blame Marjorie Taylor Greene for blaming fires on Jewish space lasers. By the way, that headline, it's totally out of context. Greene blamed the alleged Illuminati space lasers on the Rothschilds, not on Jewish people. Attacking the Rothschilds is not anti-Semitic. It's anti-reptilian. Duh. In lighter news, U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers in California seized more than $2.5 million of meth concealed in a watermelon shipment. Yes, this is now considered lighter news. The man driving the truck was arrested, but the watermelon meth smuggler mastermind is still at large. Authorities released this image of their main suspect. They hope to catch him before he destroys all the evidence. Speaking of drug deliveries, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul received a suspicious package containing white powder at his home, along with a threatening note. Authorities haven't found who sent the package, but Paul has blamed 80s pop star Richard Marx for it. This is the most serious allegation against an 80s pop star involving white powder since Whitney Houston, or that Gallagher reference I made 30 seconds ago. Paul blamed Marx for inciting violence against him when the singer tweeted he would hug and buy drinks for the neighbor that assaulted Rand Paul. Paul said in a statement, as a repeated target of violence, it is reprehensible that Twitter allows C-list celebrities to encourage violence against me and my family. Whoa, C-list celebrity? Right Here Waiting is apparently Rand Paul's least favorite work from a Marx since the Communist Manifesto. Rand Paul angered many people when he said he wouldn't be getting vaccinated, since he already got COVID and felt he had natural immunity. I respect his decision. His body, his choice. It also aligns with Rand Paul's libertarian values. Except when it comes to abortion. More after the break. Welcome back. Texas lawmakers passed a bill that would allow most people to carry concealed handguns without a permit, training, or a background check. Which is shocking that Texas ever required those things. I thought they handed out guns in Texas the way they handed out flowers in Hawaii. Supporters of this bill say these new measures would allow Texans to better defend themselves in public. And Texans are going to need to be able to defend themselves because, I don't know if you've heard, but pretty soon, everyone in Texas will be able to carry handguns without a license, training, or background check. The only way to stop a bad, unlicensed, untrained guy with a gun is a good, unlicensed, untrained guy with a gun. You know where you never have to worry about carrying a gun at all times to defend yourself? Delaware. Instead of bullets, the quickest thing whizzing through the air in Delaware is the Wi-Fi. The Diamond State has the fastest internet speeds in the country. Actually, in any country besides South Korea. And the Wi-Fi isn't the only thing with full bars, since most COVID restrictions have been lifted in Delaware. And they didn't even have to lift them because their governor was caught breaking the rules. Like some governors. Speaking of controversial governors, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill that punishes tech companies for, among other things, deplatforming politicians. According to the bill, platforms will be fined if they permanently deplatform Florida political candidates. It also gives people in Florida the right to sue tech companies for treating them unfairly, and allows the Florida Attorney General to bring actions against tech companies that violate this law. The new law takes effect on July 1st. NetChoice, a tech lobbying group that includes Facebook and Twitter, testified against this bill back in March. And in a comment, YouTube called DeSantis a stupid loser who doesn't know what he's talking about, and they'll kick his butt if they ever see his ugly face. Okay, they didn't actually say that, but that's what typically ends up in a YouTube comment. DeSantis said he signed this bill because big tech has been silencing conservative voices. Establishment Republicans are especially upset about big tech censorship because of all the conservative voices out there. Why hasn't big tech silenced Marjorie Taylor Greene? It would save them a huge headache. DeSantis said he didn't sign this bill to help Trump, but to help everyday Floridians, which is suspect, since the best way to help everyday Floridians is by giving them meth that doubles as alligator repellent. Or better yet, just give the meth to alligators so they lose their teeth. The best way to give them that is front row tickets to see suspected meth smuggler Gallagher. DeSantis' bill is seen by many as mostly a performative gesture. It will likely be struck down as a violation of the First Amendment, and there's no viable way to enforce this state law on a national level. The legislation has also been called hypocritical since the bill includes a clause that exempts any company that owns and operates a theme park or entertainment complex. Because, of course, DeSantis doesn't want to offend his cash cow, Disney World. Does Disney even have social media? Did they block Trump from getting Disney Plus or something? Now Trump will never know how Disney keeps trying to present itself as woke by introducing its first gay character for the 7th time. Even though Disney will edit this out of their Chinese release, since China is slightly less woke. Because, of course, Disney doesn't want to offend its cash cow, China. But what this means is that any social media platforms can get around this Florida law by creating their own theme park. Which means we can all look forward to Twitter opening Dorseyland, where you can visit Main Tweet USA, Safe Space Mountain, and the Virtue Signal Mansion, where rich ghouls constantly complain from within their wildly expensive homes about the system they contribute to and profit from. So what do you think about the stories we covered this week? Leave your comments below. And remember, America Uncovered is supported mainly by viewers. Be sure to visit patreon.com/America Uncovered. Contribute $1 or more per episode. We rely on your support to help us keep making great episodes. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.